going to convert my life over to Christianity, I started to kind of go around and shop some churches around and see, what I was going to like best, And I just remember telling myself, I kept saying to myself, I said, Mike, it's just all about truth, And the pastors from other churches, they try to sell you on, look at all the little kids here. Look, we have a rock wall. Look, we have a great band. We have an awesome band. They've recorded several records. They try to sell you on the fluff. And I would just look at the guy and go, I don't really care about that. I don't care. I'm not coming here to be entertained. I'm not coming here to see a rock concert. I'm not coming here to jump up and down. I'm coming here for Christ Jesus. I'm coming here for truth. I'm coming here for wisdom, right? And if I'm going to hitch my wagon to you for my salvation, I better be getting truth, right? I better be getting wisdom. Because I'm hitching my wagon to you, Pastor, I better be getting that, right? I better be getting that. And Jesus really does a great job here. He's kind of recalling these prophets, And Jonah, whenever you read from the Gospel of Matthew, you're always pretty much going to get an Old Testament story, and then you're going to get Matthew's writings of what Jesus said, right? And Matthew's always going to connect those two together because he's trying to convert Jews to Christianity. That's why he does that. It's always taking the Old Testament. He says, hey, remember when we read in the Old Testament and it said this? Well, this is what this is how he fulfills that, right? So Jonah prefigures Jesus by being, 3 days in the whale. And Jonah also preached to Gentiles. Something that Jesus is doing also, right? That's a little new for the Jewish people. Remember, Jonah preached to Nineveh. He saved Nineveh because they repented, right? They were going to be destroyed because they became very, very evil. And now they repented from their ways. That was Jonah going there to convert them. They weren't even Jewish people. They were Gentiles. They were just run-of-the-mill people. And then he also brings Solomon into it, doesn't he? How does Solomon prefigure Jesus? He comes from the loins of King David, doesn't he? Same with Christ. He comes from the family of King David. But he also had wisdom, didn't he? Also had the wisdom of God. That was Solomon. And the queen of the south, she's coming all the way from Ethiopia to learn about God from Solomon. She's got questions. She wants to know about this Yahweh guy. What about your God? I have questions about your God, right? And Solomon, with his wisdom, he entertained her and he got her educated on what God does and who God is. When Jesus says this, he goes, there's something greater going on here, isn't there, right? Jesus is not full of wisdom. He's not full of truth. Jesus is wisdom, isn't he? Jesus is wisdom. Jesus is truth. Jesus is love. Jesus is perfect in every way. He's the second person of the Trinity. We all will seek wisdom. We all will get wisdom of God. We all will find that truth in God as long as we come to Christ Jesus. And isn't it awesome in our modern day world, just in a few minutes, as Monsignor consecrates the Eucharist, we're going to receive Jesus' body and blood here. How awesome is that, right? And when you compare this to other churches, there's something greater going on here, right? I always say to my evangelical friends, Jesus is in the house, right? Jesus is in the house. There's something greater going on here. And I bring up this gospel from Matthew because it's a beautiful one and it's a great one. So let me ask you guys a question. You guys can think about this the rest of the day. Are you seeking truth? Are you seeking the truth of Jesus? Right? Is there anything we doubt in the church? Is there anything we doubt about Christ? If there is, work it out in silence with him. Always seek that